Santa Ana, a city at the crossroads of change. Here, the cities are lined with the echoes of history and the pulse of new development. This is a documentary exploring gentrification, a process reshaping communities across America, including this vibrant city in the heart of Orange County. Gentrification brings with it the promise of revitalization and economic growth. New businesses flourish, property values rise, and areas once seen as neglected gain new life. However, this transformation is a double-edged sword. As the city evolves, not all residents benefit equally. Long-standing residents see their neighborhoods change dramatically, often feeling a sense of loss as familiar spaces and faces disappear. Rising living costs push many to the margins or out of the city altogether, sparking a complex debate about the future of Santa Ana that we know and love. And at the center of the debate, the Santa Ana streetcar. Back in the early 1900s, the Santa Ana streetcar helped people get around the city as it grew. But by the 1950s, more people owned cars, and the streetcar wasn't as popular anymore, so it stopped running. Now in 2024, the streetcar is making a comeback, showing how old ideas can be new again as the city keeps changing and growing. But will it really help our community of Santa Ana?
I have to say, I'm hoping. I'm going to be very, I'm lighting a lot of candles and saying a lot of prayers, and I'm hoping it's going to bring a lot of business to downtown. It's because people will be able to come from the train station, right? Only to Harbor and Garden Grove. If it was going like from here to the airport or here across all of Orange County, I would say what an amazing opportunity that we have. And it's going to eventually get there. It's just not today. Is it going to help Santa Ana, the downtown area? I would say yes, it is.
The OCTA trolley, that one, not just us, multiple businesses in the downtown area were obstructed, and a few closed down due to that development, The
streetcar coming, and that is another topic that I hear pros and cons on. Everything from this will be great for the community to, okay, it'll be great for what community, to we don't need a streetcar. That's just the way it is, And what's interesting too is those sentiments, all those varied sentiments exist within the Mexican community, within the Spanish-speaking community. Talking to them, I will hear one person say, "F the streetcar, we don't need it," and someone else, "Oh, it's going to be great, it's going to come." So it's just everyone's got different opinions on these things. It hurt to build it. It hurt us very badly. It hurt our businesses remarkably. It was a cluster F how mismanaged that whole project was, and how I really believe there was just no interest in how the businesses would deal with the dust and the noise and the closures and being blocked off and the really shoddy street closures. I mean, it was a nightmare, we lost businesses because of that. We're still recuperating because of that. So when I say that it won't hurt, I'm talking about once it's open. Getting it together hurt us badly.
Gentrification, to me, is when you renew or rebuild lower income communities and they turn more into middle to upper income communities. And it's usually, there's many reasons for it, but a lot of it has to do with the idea of urban renewal is where it comes from. It may improve images. There is going to be an increase in values of properties and increase in tax revenues that can all go back to helping the community. But there are negatives because it will push out some businesses. It will displace many people. Rents rise, costs of living rise, and so that is going to have a negative effect on the community as well. The city could do a better job of preserving the culture while improving the properties and improving the ability for the community to improve. People don't see what the community gets on the back end of that, like increased property tax funds going to public works projects and going into public schools and having access to some of those things. And so on one hand, I feel like, okay, that's going to help the community and help bring the community out of some poverty. or lower incomes. But then on the other hand, then how do the people that are here adapt, and how do we, make sure that we're not pushing people out?
Here's a basic example. Say you live in a town with 100 other people. The town is full of mid to low income families at modest to high crime levels. Large businesses see this and try to capitalize on this. Businesses will capitalize on this and begin to buy large buildings in this town. Due to the sudden influx of people and businesses, the price of living begins to increase, thus making it hard for low-income households to continue to live in the town. However, there are a considerable amount of positives as well as benefiting the town in the process. These new businesses are able to give people new and better job opportunities. Overall, gentrification can positively or negatively affect a population depending on the way it's implemented, as well as the culture the town is known for.
It becomes, for some people who don't want to use the word, they don't want to use it because they don't feel that there is a specifically targeted racial element to it. And so because they don't feel that way, they say, well, that's not gentrification. Because they're like, I want the community to come in. Like the majority of my clients are from the existing community. Like, I'm not racist, so there's no gentrification happening here. And it's like, and I think that's because people have mashed those two words together, those two sentiments together. And I have always seen it as a classist problem.
I think we're getting there. Santa Ana has done a really good job. We're getting to a good place when it comes to urban development. I don't use the word gentrification, so let me just give you the disclaimer now. I use progress. And why do I use progress? Because in order to run a city and city government, you have to generate revenue. And what urban development does, not only the building of housing, but businesses, and it creates jobs, and it creates that long-term economic development for the city, right? And generational wealth.
You can have this conversation in such a way of, okay, if it's happening here, like it's happening so many places, how do we work alongside it? How do we make sure that we put in some considerations on rent? How do we make sure that we are not excluding people? How do we make sure that we're all working together? But don't tell me it's not happening, because it's happening.
Being more in communication with the community, I think that would help a lot more, But that would involve people doing their part and going to council meetings, Because if people don't, and they just sit at home and they complain about what's going on and they don't do anything about it, the people that do go to the council meetings are the ones that are going to make the decisions at the end of the day. If you go to the council meetings and you make your voice heard, you can do something. And the mayor of Santa Ana right now, Valerie Amezcua, she's accessible to people, I don't know what perspective she's in from the people's community, but she's been accessible to us,
So I do meet with everybody, and people are always like, oh, you're busy. I take meetings. I love the people of Santa Ana. I love the community of Santa Ana. I love our youth. I love the culture and the diversity we have here. So when you talk about gentrification, if you go downtown, we're not taking downtown apart. What we are doing is we're building affordable housing there, apartments, and there's some that are affordable, a percentage, and then there's some that are not. Because again, you have to generate revenue. If we kept everything at an affordable level, we would not be able to run city government. And so people say gentrification, you're getting rid of all the Latinos. Oh no, I welcome them. And I want more families to come in here. I want more diversity, but I also want to grow.
Como te digo, ahora ya viene más gente de más asiáticos, afroamericanos, más americanos. Y pues para nosotros es más complicado venderle a ellos, ¿verdad? Porque ellos vienen a otra clase de gustos. Y para nosotros el comercio ha caído, pues se puede decir que yo pienso que más del 50%.
It's a little polarized. There's some folks who are trying to look at things from a lens of what they identify as making of progress for the city. There are some folks who think progress is a dirty word, a bad word. And so I'll have conversations where, I'll be like, I understand where that may be unnecessary, but wouldn't every community want to have lights up, a brighter street, things like that. So that's what I mean by that polarized thing, where it's like, there are some, it's the difference between saying, I think we should have a megaplex in the middle of the block. Well, I don't think our community needs that progress. And then just sticking to that hard line of no progress, so that when someone else comes in and says, let's put in brighter lights on the streets, it immediately hits the ear as you want to progress. We don't want that.
I've seen change in just the infrastructure that's going in, a different building of roads and the streetcar downtown, different types of businesses. We've seen, unfortunately, a rise in homelessness lately. So, yes, lots of changes that have happened over the past 20-something years. You are going to have a change in culture, whether it's a socioeconomic change, whether it's ethnicity. All of those things are going to change, but I think the ultimate reality is that change is natural. Change happens. If you look at the culture, the history of this high school, and you look back to yearbooks 50 years ago, they don't look the same as they do now. So there is a cycle of change that happens in all communities. Does it have to change? It doesn't have to, but that's kind of one of the things I said earlier. I don't know that the community leaders are focusing on that and preserving those things and finding ways to bring the new with the old and formulate maybe a new cultural identity.
As day turns to night in Santa Ana, the impact of gentrification remains a topic of fervent discussion. The city, known for its cultural diversity and historical richness, now also illustrates the changes of modern urban development. Efforts to mitigate the effects of gentrification include investment in affordable housing and initiatives to keep the local culture vibrant. These solutions are vital, but also a point of contention, highlighting the struggle to maintain community identity amidst change. The debate over gentrification in Santa Ana reflects broader questions about growth and equality. Can revitalization come without displacement? How does a city grow economically while ensuring that all its residents still have a place to call home? This is a story of Santa Ana today, a city grappling with its identity, challenged to redefine community in an era of profound change. As gentrification reshapes the urban landscape, the future of Santa Ana hangs in a delicate balance.